Hello everyone. I'm Toshihiro Nishimura, from Kanazawa University, Japan. I would like to talk about the novel robotic gripper and special grasping mode realized by the gripper. The developed gripper can achieve the grasping and wrist twisting motions, like this. The first contribution is that these two motions are realized by a single actuator. The motion is switched automatically by the contact between the finger and object, namely, self-motion switching. The wrist can rotate infinitely. Using the infinite twisting motion, the special grasping mode is realized. We call the grasping mode twist grasping, and it is the second contribution. This is twist grasping. The target object in this grasping mode is an object with flexible thin parts, such as laminated packaging pouch. Generally, laminated pouches are deformable, and its center of gravity easily changes during grasping due to the flowability of the contained objects. So, the pouch is one of the most difficult objects to grasp. In twist grasping, the gripper wraps the flexible part of the pouch around the finger, like this. The payload by twist grasping increases with the number of wraps. In this video, 10 kg pouch was grasped stably while the developed gripper weighs only 0.4 kg. I will explain the analysis and validation of twist grasping in the latter of this presentation. First, I will present the gripper design that can achieve two motions by a single motor. The gripper consists of rotation and fixing units. The rotation unit can rotate relative to the fixing one. The motor is installed in the fixing unit, and several gears and gearbox are installed in the rotation unit, like this. The key mechanism is this preloader that is mounted on the fixing unit and applies the load to the gearbox to prevent the rotation of the rotation unit. I will explain the principal mechanism using the video. Each element is installed like this. By rotating the motor in forward and reversed directions, the closing and opening motions of the finger are generated. The preloader is composed from these three elements. This purple-colored fixer is mounted on the fixing unit and has a female thread. The orange-colored indenter has the male thread. Then, by tightening the indenter, the preload is applied to the gearbox in the rotation unit. The states of the gripper are classified into three states. When starting the rotation of the motor, the grasping motion is generated because the relative rotation between the rotation and fixing units does not occur due to the preload, like this. This is state A. When the finger contacts with the object, the state transitions to state B. In this state, the tip force increases due to the contact. This FGB is the force applied to the pink-colored gearbox through the green and yellow-colored gears. In this state, FGB also increases with the increase in the tip force. Then, the more the input motor torque, the larger tip force and FGB, like this. This tau GB is the torque applied to the gearbox caused by FGB. This tau PL is the frictional torque caused by the preload and balances with tau GB. When the motor torque increases and tau GB exceeds the maximum frictional torque, the slippage between the preloader and rotation unit occurs. Then, the twisting motion is generated, like this. This is state C. Next, I will explain the control methodologies for the grasping force and twist angle. The proposed methodologies are based on the monitoring the motor torque. We measured the motor current while the grasping and twist motions were generated by rotating the motor unidirectionally. This is the behavior of the motor torque calculated from the motor current. In state A, the motor torque is close to zero because of no tip force. After the finger contacts with the object, the motor torque increases with the increase in the tip force. When the motor torque reaches a peak value, the twisting motion is generated. To control the grasping force and twist angle, we should detect the point where the state switches from state B to state C. So, we set the threshold tau th, like this. When the motor torque is less than the threshold, the twist motion does not occur. So, To control the grasping force, the target motor torque should be set within the range less than the threshold, and the motor is commanded to rotate until the motor torque reaches the target value. By this methodology, the grasping force can be controlled. For example, when the target motor torque is set to a small value, the fragile egg can be grasped with a small grasping force, like this. In contrast, when the target torque is set to a large value, the heavy object can be grasped, like this. Next, I will explain the twist angle control. The twist angle corresponds to the angle of the motor rotation after the motor torque exceeds the threshold. Therefore, we rotate the motor unidirectionally and stop the motor when the displacement angle from the point where the motor torque exceeds the threshold reaches the target angle. By this methodology, the desired twist angle can be achieved, like this. Next, I will present the twist grasping. As I said, in twist grasping, the gripper wraps the flexible thin part of the object around the finger to obtain the large payload. Here, I will explain the analysis of the payload of twist grasping. This is the analytical model of the twist grasping when the number of wraps is n. This f(obj) is the payload by twist grasping. To derive f(obj), we focus on the small section of the wrapped part. These forces are applied to the section, and these relationships are satisfied. From them, f(obj) is expressed as this equation. This Fg is the force applied at this starting point of the wrapping, and corresponds to the payload by the antipodal grasping. As shown in this equation, f(obj) increases with the number of the wraps. The gripper can be twisted unlimitedly. So, twist grasping provides very large payload. We validated the analysis experimentally. First, we measured the payload by antipodal grasping to derive the payload by twist grasping, using this experimental setup. The measured payload was 3.9 Newton. From the result, the payload by twist grasping was calculated. The results are shown here. We experimentally validated for these three cases. In this case, the payload is too large, so we did not conduct the experiment to avoid the break of the experimental device. In the conducted experiments, the gripper could lift the objects in all conditions, like this. So, the result validated the analysis, and it was confirmed the gripper can grasp heavy objects by twist grasping. Finally, I will present the results of the grasping tests for antipodal and twist grasping, to evaluate the gripper. The gripper could grasp wide variety objects in antipodal grasping and grasp the pouches in twist grasping, like this. As I also showed in the introduction, 10 kg pouch can be lifted by the lightweight gripper. So, these results demonstrated the ability for grasping object of the developed gripper. Additionally, I will explain the release motion in each grasping mode. In both grasping modes, the release motion can be achieved by only rotating the motor in the reversed direction. In antipodal grasping, the finger opening motion is generated without the wrist twisting motion, like this. The reason is that the external load that activates the twisting motion is not applied to the finger when opening the finger. In contrast, in twist grasping, the twisting motion is generated first, and then the finger opening motion is generated after unrolling the object, like this. The reason is that the load applied to the finger from the rolled object prevents the opening motion. So, the twisting motion is generated until the object is unrolled and the load is removed. This is conclusion. I presented the 1DOF robotic gripper with self-twist function and twist grasping. We conducted not only the grasping tests but the operation tests. Due to the time constraints, I only showed the video of the operation test to wind a paper using the grippers. Please see our paper for the detail. Thank you for your kind attention.